I did a lot of research into the kinds of errors I was getting from my students. I gathered from previous generations, okay, all these old essays, and kind of made a database of sentence after sentence after sentence that had, say, subject-verb agreement, verb tense mistakes. For a while, I even had a designation as to what their first language was: Chinese, Spanish, Russian, Greek, Korean, and put all this into an ancient old database. This was back in the 80s. And then I could tell that database spit out for me all the subject-verb agreement mistakes that Chinese speakers are making, for instance. So it would give me them, and I would pore over them, and I would try to look for patterns. You know, it was kind of interesting. But it turned out that students were making similar mistakes no matter what their first language was. And that was surprising to me. I was sure that I was going to get, you know, verb tense mistakes from Chinese speakers are going to be different from Russian speakers because Chinese doesn't have tense, but Russian does, you know, stuff like that. Or subject-verb agreement. Chinese are going to do one thing, but Spanish speakers are going to do another because they have a different system of subject-verb agreement.
Not so.
Wrong.
That's called native language interference, right?
And everyone swore by it in the 60s and 70s and maybe even the 80s. And there I was hitting wall after wall of nope, didn't matter who they were. So I just wound up trying to find, as best I could, what kind of patterns were prevalent, never mind whether they're Spanish or Chinese or Korean or Russian or Greek. You know, no longer would I have them identify themselves at the beginning. Are you Spanish, Russian? You know, no.